In the hardest part of winter, when Red Flint went quiet after sundown and every man guarded his own plate, a mountain man named Gideon Vale came down from the hills with a wagon of hides and cedar posts. He was enormous, 2 meters tall, broad as a barn door, with the kind of strength that made strangers step aside before he even spoke. He lived alone above town in a timber house built into a ridge, sold pelts, hauled wood, and trusted almost no one. People called him hard, and they were right. Life had carved that hardness into him early and left it there. That day he sold his load, bought flour, lamp oil, salt, and 3 whole fried chickens from Mrs. Barlow's kitchen window, because he had not eaten since dawn. He sat behind the general store and tore into the food like a machine. Grease ran down his fingers. Bones snapped softly in his hands. Then a woman approached. She was 27, wearing a patched brown coat and thin gloves. Nothing about her begged for notice except the hunger in her face. She did not invent a story or ask for money. She simply stopped a few steps away and said, "Sir, if you are done soon, may I eat what remains?" Gideon looked up, irritated first. Then he saw her eyes. He would remember them for the rest of his life. They were tired, hungry, and yet so clear that they unsettled him. There was no cunning in them, no self-pity, no shame. Only a strange honesty, as if she had suffered enough to lose pride, but not enough to lose goodness. For 1 second, Gideon forgot the chicken in his hand. Then his old instincts returned. He told himself he was imagining things. Hunger could make anyone look innocent. Loneliness could make a man foolish. Without a word, he turned away and kept eating. She waited a moment, then left. That night, she appeared in his dreams. On the second night, she appeared again. On the third night, he dreamed she stood outside his mountain house in the dark and would not knock, though she was freezing. He woke angry and ashamed. He had ignored hungry people before, and none of them had followed him into sleep. By the morning of the third day, guilt had worn through even his pride. He rode into town before sunrise and began searching. At first, people laughed at him. Gideon Vale, the giant who barely greeted his neighbors, was asking after a woman in a patched coat. Mrs. Barlow said she had seen one like that. A stable boy finally asked, "You mean the apple woman?" Gideon found her behind Cobb's corral, eating bruised apples that had first been thrown to horses. She was wiping each one clean with her scarf before taking careful bites. He stood looking at her, ashamed in a way he had not felt since childhood. She looked up and recognized him at once. There was no accusation in her face, and that made the shame worse. "What is your name?" he asked.